Go, and we are live.
Hello again from directions here in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. You may think to yourselves, "What's happened here? We've grown an extra person." That is, that's true. We went out recruiting. We didn't hit the ground running hard enough yesterday, so we have Andrew Simmons here, a Wiise partner, and he is the director of and owner of Corbis.
Good
Andrew,
morning.
introduce yourself.
Good morning. Andrew Simmons from Corbies, as you just heard. So obviously we are a BC partner and obviously a Wise partner as well. So, very good morning to you all.
Brilliant. And this is Chris, who runs partners and pre-sales. And I'm Stephen. I'm still the COO here at Wise, as far as I know. And so we're going to do a quick recap of yesterday's day one in directions. So as a reminder, we had a keynote in the morning. We'll spend a bit of time on the keynote. It's probably the most important event of the day. And then there were a number of sessions that we all landed and worked through all the way through to pretty much 6 o'clock last night. So I'm going to start though by asking Andrew. So you've made it's a long trip. It's a big investment. What is it that gets you to directions? Because I've seen you here a few years now.
It's now my third year running.
Yeah.
Obviously a big change going to Vietnam over Bangkok, but good change. But in terms of, yes, it's an investment. And obviously, as we all know, Copilot is really embedded within the BC world and within Wise. And obviously, from a Wise perspective, you guys obviously taking that to the next level. In terms of
it's all about figuring out where this AI journey is going, right?
Yep.
I mean, you're getting a heads up before anyone else, really.
And really, the purpose of this trip is to understand how we prepare in terms of Corby's need to be ready and enabled. And in terms of what we heard from Mike yesterday in the keynote was AI first. So we need to understand how to use it. We need to implement it within our business before we actually move it across to our customers.
That's right. I think that was probably the key theme. Mike Morton, who's, as a reminder, the VP, Microsoft VP for Business Central, he could not have been more explicit that he expects every partner in the room to be an AI company. And if you haven't figured that out yet, then he made a pretty big run at making it his key theme. In fact, at one point, somewhat gimmicky, he had Copilot co-work up on the screen. He basically said, "Help me become an AI first company, write me a plan." And he suggested that every partner in the room should go back to their businesses and do exactly that, which is a kind of an interesting way just to introduce co-work. So Chris, what did you make of the way that co-work was integrated into the presentation?
Well, I love the way that he went about it. For one, he had a number of meetings with certain partners throughout this week where, as we said yesterday, we're right next to his office room. And funnily enough, it's more that co-work was not only just be able to help him prepare, but it was to work the process end to end, tell him the information he needed to know about those partners, but as well as that, organize the actual calls, organize the pre-meeting work. Funnily enough, we saw Corbiz and Wise on that
On screen. So he introduced co-work by showing how he had used it to plan his week, which was, I think, kind of interesting. The kind of like all Microsoft keynotes, there is this attempt to introduce something vaguely like a personality into it. So at one point, Yannick went
Yes.
dumped a bag full of receipts on the ground as a way of introducing the expenses agent, which I suppose was, I think, for him, the mic drop moment. This is a thing that Microsoft have been hinting at for a while, and so they did a quick run through. What did you make of that agent?
It looks great in terms of the understands the currency that the receipt is made in. You can pick up your Uber from Sydney Airport, and obviously pick up your Grab when you arrive here at in terms of local city. Just great in terms of just converts it. From a currency perspective, also from a language point of view.
Well, he had a one of the Microsoft product managers actually doing a live demo, and so that actually worked pretty well. And so I thought that expenses agent will probably demo quite well in Australia.
Yes, I gotta say the applications are quite wide. It's very much like the quality module, how it's not just one feature, it's been set up as a holistic module. It's available for us in preview in point one, which is coming out this month, as many of you know. Another key point with the keynote and the expense agent, a lot of the more cynical Microsoft partners always say that Directions North America comes and then Directions Asia is just a repeat of all the same information. But they had, I think, in the keynote, two very big sort of reveals that were not discussed in North America. And one was the changes that were happening to Copilot within Business Central, which I think will be the main feature for all of us moving forward across these next 6 months. And to basically introduce it, it was how Copilot Chat is being transitioned into full Copilot within Business Central. And so huge applications. It means the agents that you use within Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat can operate seamlessly with the BC information, but it's a natural way of adjusting everything. And the demos that they showed are pretty seamless.
Well, I mean, even so far as, for the first time, you can export into Excel directly from BC, and just things that were, that they were, obviously very excited about on stage. And I think this will kind of enliven the AI debate within the BC community, because this will be the first time really it's an equal partner with everything else in the Microsoft stack.
Yeah. Not only just Excel, we can now drop files and input files straight in via Copilot, but also the expense agent was written via AI. Yeah. So I couldn't believe it. I went to the detailed session and it was written by Copilot. So the development team are now putting sophisticated chat routines together and watching Copilot build the code. And they review the code and test it, which is great. So an agent from ground up written by AI.
Well, they must be watching what we're doing in Wiise, to be honest, because that sounds very familiar. I think that's a good transition, though, because after the keynote, we all kind of split up, and there were about 24 sessions all the way through the day. We know some of you voted on sessions that you would like us to attend. So I think what we might do is just a quick scan of some of those, maybe some potted highlights. Chris, 100%. This is where by the way, I have a nosebleed. And some of these things were real propeller head stuff. But I suppose that's the point. This is an event that's strategic, partners and ISVs, but it also is get right into the weeds of how this platform is built.
And I got to say, the speed that a lot of these modules and features are rolling out really make it evident that attending these sessions, watching these videos are important, because given the fact that Directions North America was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there's already adjustments and improvements.
2 new things. I think there'll be some new things that they're hinting today, by the way. There'll be some stuff around talent and some additional AI reveals. So we'll tell you more tomorrow.
But the expense agent was the first key one that you all voted for us to go. Both Andrew and myself were in there. They walked through not only the employment rules, so a lot of what you believed wouldn't be coming through as a simple expense management tool, yes, they are embedded. Locations, management rules, allocations, mileage, it's all included. The key difference between then and Directions North America is that we got a timeline on its rollout for yourselves. So 2 weeks ago, it was being advised. May, public preview for US. We now know that within July, it'll be coming out to Australia as well as every English-speaking country. And got to say, that'll be massive for us.
Yeah, so we'll create, this will be a webinar in our engagement series, and we'll do a deep dive and we'll make sure you get all the material you need. There was a localization.
Yes. So
as well.
I love the sort of like stories they put into the keynotes because they're connected to this.
You might want to explain what.
Yes.
You tried to explain it to me and I'm still not sure.
So for those of you that know, there is a base localization of Australia, a base localization for Singapore or Philippines. They all have, to a degree, something separate from the world version of Business Central. And within the keynote, they announced that they now had every single country basically across the world. It was 245, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
And they had this one BC customer in the most northern part of the world, basically a museum that was using Business Central. So delocalization, key thing there, removing the base components. And they had to give us a timeline on when the components for Australia will be coming out. And the good news for all of you, not anytime soon, but just thinking about it from a strategy perspective. We've got sales order agent, expense agent, payables agent. We now have the removal of jurisdiction. So it's clear that this is development made to make us more on par with Dynamics 365 Finance, which is pretty exciting.
Finally.
Yeah.
F&O. It takes away those boundaries. Corby's has customers across Manila, across the Philippines, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. So it just makes it easy in terms of rolling out. So
exactly right. So it's a growth opportunity for you then that's going to...
absolutely. In terms of the local market here in Vietnam, one customer we rolled out in Australia, I can see their stores all over the place. Didn't realize they were here. So obviously a huge opportunity.
Yeah, massive. And it opens it up so that, for one, the localizations that Wiise has done becomes nice and key, but as well as that, being able to then operate in multiple regions has a partner program and structure around it, which will naturally capture for yourselves within our detail report itself. After that, it was then the ISV time slot.
Yeah.
There was 5 sessions from pretty much the same suspects that you all pretty much know and love that we talked about yesterday. But the key one that I attended was the Tasklet session. So our friends, Tim and the crew, basically presented their platform as they always do. The 2 key takeaways was that they now have a structured design, what they're calling Tasklet tweaks, as a way of rolling out the customization so that any partner can come on, package their customizations nice and seamlessly. I will admit the next bit was the bit that got my eye, being a pre-sales guy, being able to have an inbuilt virtual machine to be able to demo the Tasklet hardware and you're not needing to require the hardware. Tim had a good old time with that, joking with the crowd and getting them involved. But I know that's always been an issue for everyone. Basically, if you're going to present the gear, show the hardware, it doesn't really connect unless you're there with them in person. So being able to do that virtually is going to change the game a little bit in that space about how to run those deals.
Any highlights from you in the sessions that you attended?
Just the very last session last night was just in regards to Australia, New Zealand, and the impact we're making globally.
Yes.
Just in terms of the on-premise to cloud migrations, we've become #1 in the world.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And just in terms of the new marketing opportunities, so Microsoft's going to be releasing all the new opportunities in terms of their funding and so on in the next month or so. So I'm looking quite positive.
And what caught my eye was actually in the keynote, Binary Stream presented. They're one of the gold sponsors here. And I think a lot of the ISV presentations, particularly in the keynote, come across somewhat as a sales pitch, which I think is probably a flaw in the design of this, because as we know, this isn't a Microsoft event. This is a Directions event where Microsoft is the platinum sponsor. And so that feels sometimes like you're being pitched at a bit. But the thing that Binary Stream are obviously very strong at is running a channel. And so they had a very, very good explanation as to how they've grown their partner ecosystem and how that ecosystem is thriving. And so we're very, very close to doing something between Wiise and Binary Stream, and we'll hopefully be able to announce that in the next week or 2.
7 sessions that were all recorded and captured from a documenting perspective. We'll roll it out as a blog to go alongside with the vlog. But yep, then we've got day 2. Doesn't feel like it's just day 2.
It's always so crazy. I mean, the expo is split across 2 floors, and there are a few new suspects. We might talk about one of those in tomorrow's session. Maybe it's a bit short in time here, but tomorrow, today, keynote number 2, another kind of I guess Microsoft reveal. We'll see what that means. And I suppose you've got a packed agenda today again as well, Andrew.
Yeah, full day today. But in terms of this keynote, looking forward to, it's all about AI, but in terms of just the next step in the roadmap, what Microsoft's going to release. And we did see the updates to the sales order agent and the expense management type, in terms of the expense we spoke about, but also the AP agent that is available. Just the further enhancements that have come through. So but looking forward to see what the roadmap's going to look like.
Well, we all know the sales order needed some.
It's a little bit of tweaking here or there. We've got 6 sessions lined up for you guys today, but just to even end it on a really unique note that no one knew was coming, there is a trial with the payables agent that they just hinted in there and showed within the product, being able to trial it with 50 invoices, which is exactly what the partners asked for.
Very good.
Yes.
So we've actually got the Microsoft event tonight. So we're apparently heading out on a boat.
Yes.
So we're speculating that will be fairly problematic. We'll see how that goes.
Can't escape.
Hopefully we'll be here in the morning and not stranded
Yeah.
somewhere downriver in Lower Saigon in the Mekong Delta.
Yes.
That'll be unfortunate. But thanks so much for dialing in, and we'll talk to you again in the morning.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you for
very
having
much,
me.
Andrew.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, Andrew. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Brilliant.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a good day, everyone.